this is Mary Harris from Paper Crow. I have been working on these folding tuck things. I don't know exactly what you'd call it, but it's got like a little peekaboo pouch kind of thing, and I thought I would do a little videotape. This one isn't completely done, but I figured it would give a good visual for what we're looking at doing, and it can help with so you can see the measurements and things like that. I'm going to start off with a piece of 12 by 12. I have this Field Journals book, which I'm loving. I'm going to look for paper that can be bent in different directions and still look okay, because as we go to move this around, it's going to flip. You can see I used a plain color on this one and then added the images to be the direction I wanted. But it's a lot easier if you don't have to worry about that on every single page. So I think there's a few pages in here that will work. This one's really pretty. Hopefully you'll be able to see the lines on it. It's kind of dark, but I think it will work. So if I open this up, you can see the outside edges of it are 12 by 12. So it's like 12 deep on each side. What we're basically doing is cutting the corners out. So you can see it goes over 3. And if we turn it this way, it's 4.5. And on this side, it's 3. So this is a 3 by 3 square, and this is a 3 by 4.5. And that's so when you close it, you have a bit of an overlap here so that you can shut it. I like to have it shut this way because I put a circular tab there so I can tuck it shut. So that's what we're aiming for today. We'll see how close I can get. So first things first, we're going to cut out the corners. And a little bit of extra paper there. Oops. Okay. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to put the folds in before I try to cut. It just helps me be a little bit more accurate and make less mistakes. So we want 3 by 3. So I'm going to go down at the 3-inch line. If you're doing it by ruler, measure out 3 and 3 and draw a line and fold on the line. And then if I can grab a hold of it, I'm going to turn it and I'm going to do 3 again. Then I'm going to turn it and do 3 again. This gives us our 2 corners with 3 by 3. And then the last turn we're going to do 4.5. So hopefully you can see all the creases on there. We're going to cut these corners out. So now I can change this into a razor. If you're using just a ruler, you can just take scissors and cut along these folds where you made them. I gotta move this out of the way. I always have too much stuff on that side of my cutter. Okay, so I'm going to line up the crease with the cutting line here, and I'm going to just go down to the corner. Oh, I'm going to do the same thing again. Go down to where the corner of the folds are. This is just what's easy for me to be able to spin it, and then I'll flip it over and spin it the other way. You obviously don't have to do it this way, but when I have this much stuff on my desk to record, it's just the easiest way to do it. Oh, we have a visitor. This is Oliver. I don't think he's fully made it into the camera view before. Usually it's just like a toe or a tail, but he must really be wanting some attention today. I think when they hear me talking, my animals assume I'm talking to them because they all come running. No, and he's gonna talk back too. I think this one I am a little off on, so I'm gonna just cut it with scissors. Okay, I went a little over with my cutting, but that's part of doing it on camera. You make even more mistakes. Okay, so now I'm going to curve the corners of these. You don't have to, but I found that it does give a more finished look when you round the corners. So we'll do that real quick. Now I like to have a second fold on these, and this is totally up to you, but you can fit more in, it stores more if you add a second fold just one notch over. Might be a little harder to do this if you don't have a scoring board, but you're really just folding it a little bit of a distance away from the original fold, just so when you fold them over there's room for papers. And I'll show you when I actually fold them in. And I'm just lining this up with the fold that's already there and adding a fold. It's not anything fancy. So if you put two folds in, you can see it's a little bit thicker, so then when you put papers in it, it doesn't rip. A lot of times if you do just one fold, this will start to break down from folding, or if you're trying to wrap around. I'm just going to fold these over so I can get an idea of how it's going to look. Now you want to make sure when you add that second fold, you're adding it to the outside of this box, because you're going to add a centerpiece here and you want it to line up as best as possible. Yeah. All right. So our centerpiece is 6 by 4.5. So I didn't quite do it all the way down. We want to make sure we have enough to cover this and then a flap on each side. So if we add 3 inches, we should be good. So let me find a piece of paper that will go with that now, so that the whole thing looks the same, because this kind of has like a border of tan without flowers, and I want to make sure that it looks similar on each side. So we'll just cut that edge off and set it aside. Maybe we'll use it for something else later. And then I want it to be 6 inches wide, but we'll just go 1 notch over to make sure that, so it's actually 5 7/8, and this is just so there's extra room, just to make sure it doesn't get snagged when you go to fold it. I just like to give a little buffer, a little room for error. And then we're gonna do 7 1/2, and that's just to put a little bit of an edge on each side. So the flaps will be, they'll fold in here and here. And I'm going to put some scoring in here. So we're going to go 1 1/2 inches over on one side and 1 1/2 on the other. And that will give us that 4 inch by 6 inch center here. Now we can do the same thing we did before. We could have that second fold if you want to, or because this one's on the inside anyway, you can just leave a single fold and put less in there, because this is going to add 2 pages on to whatever you put in there anyway. If you want it to close completely and not show, you're going to want to go a little bit bigger than this, which I think I did do that on this one. I can't remember now. Yes, I did. But either way, it doesn't really like lock closed, so it's, either way works. I am going to want to put some color in here because this by itself is kind of boring. That's one of the reasons I ended up using a solid color, because it's easier to find double-sided solid colored paper. So what we can do is use some of the blue left over for some pieces, and then I have some other blue, just a plain blue in here. How will that look though? Actually, that won't be too bad. I'm going to try it. I'm not going to completely put another color down over this. Like, it just makes it harder to fold and makes it thicker. So I think I'm going to make boxes to go on the inside of these. So let's see. This is 4 1/2 by 6, right? Okay. I want to make sure I remember it correctly. So let's just cut 6 inches. And we're going to do one that's 4 1/2. And then I'm going to do one that is 3. Let's see how this fits. I actually am going to take a little bit off because I don't want to go all the way to the fold. I don't want to overlap with the fold. So we're going to go, it was 4 1/2. I'm going to go 4 1/4 to give myself a buffer. So then it'll fit on there. There'll be a little bit of a white edge, but that's okay. I don't mind that. So just to show you, I'm going to round this. I'll put this paper behind it so you can see it a little bit better. So we have our edge, and we're going to put it in here. It'll have a little bit of a white around the edge, but then when I fold it, it won't interfere with these 2 folds when it goes down. Okay, we're going to do the same thing with this one. Oh no, wait, where did I put the 3 inch one? I got too many pieces of paper floating around now. So I took 1/4 of an inch off the last one. I'm going to do the same thing here. So this will end up being 2 3/4. And I'll do the same thing around the edges. I'm just going to show you this as I go so you can kind of see the progress here. Now I'm going to do these 2 flaps, and these are 3 by 4.5, so we're going to this is actually 6, so I'm going to go 4.5, and I'm going to cut this in half to get my 2. Actually, we're going to do 2 3/4 and 2 3/4. Yeah, I need to take a 1/4 of an inch off this. Forgot about that. So 4 1/4, not 4.5. There we go. I don't know how other people keep such clean craft areas while they're working. I mean, it's one thing to clean up after you're done, but I just throw things out of my way. I don't want to stop what I'm doing to be a cleanly person, I guess. That sounds horrible, but... Okay, so we've got our corners here, and we have the middle section. Now we need a little piece to go on each side of here. So we'll do the same color. It's going to be 6 inches wide. So we'll cut it down to 5 3/4 to give that white edge. Okay, now 1 1/4 inches twice. So we got 1 and we have 2. Beautiful. This is where I'm moving too fast. I need to put the razor down or else I cut myself every time. So these will go on this side when they flip down. Now, do I need to round those? I think I'm actually going to leave them just straight. I don't know why, but I kind of like it. Before I do that, though, I'm going to crease these down a little bit better. Make sure I have a clean crease so they lay flat when they're in there. All right, here we go. This is 3-in-1, the Beacon 3-in-1. You could use glitter glue or Fabri-Tac or even wood glue works for this. It's just wood glue is a yellow glue, so you want to make sure you're not using it if you have something that's transparent. I suppose I could have rubbed that in a little bit better. So I'm going to try to line it up as best I can to get a white edge around the whole thing. And keeping it clear of my folds so that it will, I gotta remember that second fold in there so I don't accidentally block it. There we go. Same thing on each corner. I'm just gonna go through and glue these on and I'll be right back. I glued down these 3 and these 2 decorations, but I held off gluing this on because I want to put a brad in there and not have it show up on this side. We'll use this to kind of cover it. So I need to fold it in and down. Actually, I'm going to have the big side go down, and we're going to make the envelope go like this. Actually, I'm glad I did this so I don't go the wrong direction. So where this flap comes down, I need to have a brad here with a circular piece of paper to work as a flap to hold this down. So I have some circles here that are pre-cut, and I think I'll go a little bit darker of a mauvish. I think that kind of matches. Yeah, okay. So it's gonna go here, almost like if you were to stamp with wax and have it locked in there. But I need to find a brad that can go on there that will look kind of classy. So I have, this is a sort of fabric covered brad, and then I have like gold, which could look good. Actually, I think the gold looks pretty nice with all those decorations. Do I have like a different shade? I have so many different things in here. Oh, that one looks like a screw. That might be a little bit rough for this project. I think I'll just go with this regular gold. So if I know I'm going to have this here, then I have to have the hole kind of here to hold it in. You want it kind of center to the circle. So I'm going to draw a little circle here so I don't forget where I need things to be. And then I have a crock for punching the hole. If you don't have a big instrument like this, you can change where the flap hits. You can just reverse it. So if you just have a regular hole punch, and that's not an option, you can just change it so that actually, no, I think that would be just as, no, that would work. If you have the flap come down here, you just would have to cut a little bit of this off so that you could have the hole closer to here, because I think a standard one will fit probably this far down, so you just have to cut your lid to match. It just won't be as deep of a lid, but it'll still look cute. So we're going to take our circle and punch a hole in that. And this is just a cheap standard hole punch, which is kind of better for trying to find the center of these little circles anyway. I still never get it right, but actually that might be too big of a hole for this particular one, so I guess I will go to the white material one. There we go. I think it'll be okay. All right, so we want it to go in here and fold down. So then when we want to close it and have it lock into place, it does move around a little bit, but it still works. It still won't pop open, so it's okay. This is a really tiny ended brad too, so I have all different sizes, which just makes it more difficult to track. Okay, so now we want to cover that up. We don't want people to see the inside ugliness of the brad, so that's where this other flap comes in. We're going to glue this down, and then we can put our center section in. If you've ever watched one of my other videos, you've seen me cut my finger a million times. Well, I have done it again, so I don't know what kind of karma I have, but seems like I always hit the razor. So if you see me holding my hand weird, it's just because I don't want to get blood on things. And I haven't gone to get a Band-Aid yet. Alright, now we're going to put our center in. We want to make sure we're going the right way. So this is our bottom. We're going to put our flowers going upright. Now I could ink this if I wanted to. If you were going to ink it, you'd want to do it before you put it in. I'm not going to. I kind of like the clean whiteness going on. But I might add like lace or something like that. I have this new camera because my phone takes really good videos, but trying to get the files, the huge files off my phone, it just always errors out. So I got a camera that basically takes the same level of video, but it has memory cards. I can pull them out. Well, the first time I tried to use it, I didn't realize you have to turn the microphone on separately. So there's a bit of a learning curve. So I made a whole video without recording a single word. So there'll be a really weird one coming out eventually where I voice it over because I hate to waste all the video footage, but I'm kind of awkward if I have to just stare at myself doing something and then try to talk over it. All right, so we have our flip out, and these flip in, and this goes up, and then this clips in. So that alone is a basic envelope. Now we're just pizzazzing it up. So we have this extra scrap paper that we can use to make like pockets, everything that's left over from the other projects. We could do like a belly band in there. You could use these for little pockets on the side. We also have what's left of the flower material, or not material, but paper. So we could do pockets on each side here, and actually I think that looks really pretty. I'm definitely going to do that. Let's start off with that. So how far do we want it? I think it like halfway would be good, or even a little bit less. I don't want it to be too deep. Okay, so that's maybe 2 inches. Let's do 2 inches and see. Oh yeah, that will work. I am going to have to, maybe I want to make it a little smaller so it has the blue around the outside. Then I don't have to worry about getting that edge perfect. So this was 2 3/4. So we're going to do 2 1/4 and see how that looks. There we go. Oh, that's cute. Okay, we'll do another one here. I think I just have to cut a little bit off. There we go. Now you could like punch a little bit of a circle in there to make sure some things don't get stuck, or you could just leave it the way it is. So we can put an angle tuck in here. Since I don't have paper that fits all the way across, if we cut it at an angle, then it's something that can be slid this way. And it'll still look like it's intentional, not like you ran out of paper. So I'm going to cut this from one corner to another to get a triangle. It doesn't have to be that precise. You could leave it with an edge, but see, if I put this in, it still looks sharp. It doesn't look like I ran out of paper, but I am going to round this edge. If you don't have a corner rounder, you could just not round anything and it will still look like everything is done with intention. Okay, so now this top one, I think I might just put a little belly band in there. Maybe with some of this, just to bring it all together. Let's see, we're gonna do 2 3/4 was the width, right? Oops. There we go. Ooh, yeah. And then I'm just gonna cut a little smidge, so maybe 1.5 inches. Just needs to be wide enough to be able to tuck like a bookmark or a ticket from a show or something, depending on what people want to use this for. I'm going to just take a little bit off. I don't think I measured that quite right. Okay, so we have this little band, and then we could add some of this onto our pockets to give it a little bit of coordination, pull things together. What was the distance on this again? 2 1/4. So I'm just going to do 2 1/4. And then I'm just going to cut this in half. So let's see, is this... Maybe I can't cut it in half. So we'll go 3/4 inch. No. Let's just do 1/2 inch. Make it easy. Not easy on the fingers, but easy to measure. So then we can put these along the top of each of these pockets, make it look a little fancier. And then here I'm thinking we can put some inspiring words. And I'm not sure what to put here. I think I have some photos, some old vintage photos, and a lot of them have gardens, a lot of women sitting in their gardens in their best clothes. That seems to be a common theme in these older pictures. I have so many though. It'll take me a second to find one that really kind of fits. This one has a house with the gardens. That's kind of cute. I usually put something in that I can put in some words of wisdom that align with it a little bit. I also scan my pictures in before I use them in a project in case I really want that type of photo again and can't find one that is quite it. Here we go. Oh, that's too big, but that's kind of what I'm talking about, where they're kind of posing in the garden. There's one. We need a little bit smaller though. This might work. Yeah. This one's with an umbrella. Here's a young man in a garden. There's so many. I like to go to vintage shops and just look through all of the photos that have been thrown away for whatever reason. Oh, he's got a little puppy. I love the animal ones. It's hard to find animal ones. Oh, she's a little, look at her. I haven't decided yet, but I'm going to pick between those two. Alright, I'm going to set those aside and let's glue in what we have so far. I'm going to glue these together and then I'll be right back. I've looked through a bunch of my stash and found some sayings and some lace and kind of tried to lay things out to see what would work, but it'll be a little bit of trial and error as we put it together. I didn't want you to have to sit and watch me pick it apart, but I don't want to do it totally without you seeing the process. So I have some sayings I found in some Tim Holtz. He has some word books. Let's see. This is Tim Holtz Ideology Small Talk. He has a bunch of these types of books that you can find words quickly, or you can sit and cut them out of old books. I do have some of those that I have done kind of in a mass make while I'm watching TV, but I couldn't find anything that really fit what I was trying to do. So I want to have some lace in the background and kind of have her picture hodgepodge. I was kind of debating on whether to have her hidden and have it be like a flip up. I decided to do this, and I can have writing spots in other places, I think. So first I need to get this cut down the right size because this needs to be able to fold down without it bunching up, and you can see it's a little bit too big. This is just a sheet lace. It's like a fabric from, a lot of times I'll get like shirts that are lacy and just cut them up. That's where this one came from. It's just like a decorative, the top layer of a shirt. This is from a roll of silk that I was dyeing, but this is the undyed part. So I think between the two, I can get some layering going and then still have it close okay. And it's not super thick, this type of material, so it won't bunch it up too bad. It does, however, show through, so I want to think about where my photo is going to be. So maybe I'll glue my photo on first, and then I can be strategic about where I put glue to glue it onto the paper. Silk just won't hold anything back. Alright, I kind of want it to be cockeyed a little bit. I actually want more of the lace to show than that, so maybe we'll go, that'll work. I don't want things to be lined up, but I don't know, there's like the sweet spot for getting these to look right. I don't like to have it be too obnoxious. I do like the edges roughed up. It can be a little hard to do with this because this is like a stretchy material, so it doesn't like to fray in a nice way anyway. Alright, so that little bit of glue kind of put all those pieces together because like I said, the glue just runs through this fabric. I'm going to put glue just within the picture so it doesn't show through. I don't want any bleeding. And it's going to go through multiple layers, but we'll put a little bit between the fabrics just to be on the safe side. Okay. Hopefully that will be enough to get it to stay down. We'll see in a minute whether it pops up. I have a couple of sayings to put on the top and bottom flap here. I like the idea of like opening it up and having a little inspirational message. I'm going to go to the side to kind of balance things out. I don't like to put too many things symmetrical or else people notice every little error. So these say be authentic, you're enough. And then I have a phrase for in here. I don't know if the lace will be too much. It might be. Or maybe I should do a different lace. Well, that one's kind of a bit much. Maybe just a piece of it though. I don't know. Let's cut some off and see. This stuff can get a little bit more frayed than that other. Okay. Yeah, that looks better than having the same lace. Okay, we're going to do that. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to glue the word down to the lace first and then use that to guide where I put the glue for later. I think I want it cockeyed a little bit, but I'm not sure what way. I guess I want it this way. No? I don't know. Oh, now I'm getting indecisive again. I guess we'll do it that way and just call it good. This glue does not want to come out today. I did pull out glitter glue, but it's just so watery. It's hard to work with compared to this stuff. I'm gonna try to. Now I have some other sayings to put in here, and actually I might go lefty with it. Let's see. Just to balance it out, or should I go symmetrical? Maybe symmetrical. I don't know. The reality is there's no wrong answer because it's just me making decisions about what I want. I don't know why I overthink it. So I'm going to do the best I can to make it symmetrical. I didn't cut that one super straight. Oops. That's another thing about doing it cockeyed is if you're not good at cutting straight with scissors, it's not as obvious if you don't try to do things symmetrically. Okay, I'm going to use that one. All right, we're going to put some lace down here. So this will fold like this, then this goes up and this goes down. And then we could put a little saying here. Let's see here. I'm going to tuck this so I can get an idea of how it's going to look. And we could cut out one of these flowers. I like this one. I'm just going to do a fussy cut around the outside and like leave the white rim of it. I'm not going to be able to fit the whole thing, but I think if I cut around these bigger flowers, a little bit of green fabric, that could be the ticket. It already has some stitching on it. I don't know. Why is this so hard? Maybe I just need to go more simple and just put a decoration there, or put this across. Let's just glue this together and find out how it looks. Sometimes I just have to start there. So maybe if I have something going across it, it won't bother me as much. Or if I kind of offset. Oh man, I don't know. Do I put another flower over it? Maybe there's no good answer to it. I could add just a yellow flower. Let's see if this helps at all. I'm just going to cut the flower itself out, not all the extra. I hate fussy cutting too. I'm always on the lookout for ephemera that's pre-cut without a white edge because I despise sitting here and cutting. I have carpal tunnel from work and I definitely notice its effects when I do too much crafting, so that's just one of my things. Well, I don't know if that helps or not, but there we are. It's done. Now if we put something in there, it doesn't look like it's too solid flowers, so that bugs me a lot less. God. I don't know. It doesn't need anything more. I don't know why I feel the need to put more. So you could put something here, writing space or more decoration. I think I have put more than enough for today, but we do need to put some stuff in our little pockets. So I have a stash of pre-cut, just random tags and things. They're not all beautiful, but you may be able to find something that matches okay. There we go. That one's too big. Some of them are a little bit strange. That's too wide. We can cut things down too if need be. These are good for making when you just want to sit and be lazy, but you still want to craft. I think of it as the Junk Journal's version of, knitting a blanket where you can mindlessly knit. And that one's a little bit longer. Okay. Maybe we can cut it down, but no. Well, here's a bunch of long ones. Actually, that will look even better. You can always add string to these afterwards, but they serve as a place to put some writing. We could just use a square piece of paper, and you could even add some decorations on there if you wanted to. What else do I have in here? Ooh, that one's cute too. That kind of goes with that greenish color too. We'll use that one. And then I think I'm going to cut this one down, which it doesn't have to be anything fancy for the sake of this video. Okay, so we have little tucks for each thing. It opens up. You could put writing space in these or have a flip up for more writing if you wanted to. You could do a little notebook. That could be something. You know, take some pieces of paper and staple them together in a little notebook. Let's see, I'll do a little quick one here. So if I just have a couple different types of paper, making sure that they all fit the size of my little box. I like the torn edges. It's just my preference. I'm going to use these rounded ones for the top and bottom. And then I could staple it here. I could staple it on one end like this and then have it be open this way. That would be easier to tuck. And actually, that's a great place for my random saying that I didn't have a spot for, so I'm going to do that. Embrace beautiful chaos. That is what I do every time I sit here and try to make art out of something. There, so we have a little notebook for paper. You can fold it up, fold this down. You can add strings onto your bookmarks and have it look fancy. There, what do you think?